Oh, jeez, you can't even hit the fucking timer, Mickey. Good man. Right, so that's us kicking off. Welcome back to another episode of The Muscle and the Hustle. We are live, Mickey.
We're live. We're back. It's been Christmas. We done a live on a Christmas. It hasn't been that long.
I haven't uploaded that yet. It will be up on my YouTube.
It's on Spotify if anybody wants it. Tony just doesn't know that because he doesn't care enough. But it's on Spotify if you want to watch it in video, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, which is pretty sweet, actually. And then this one will be live too next. We'll probably go a week or two anyway. But yes. Well, it'll be live now when people are watching it. Mickey, I'm getting very confused now. I'm not used to the live. Right, so fill me in. What's been happening with you?
I've been busy. Been gigs. Been training. I'm in the zone, Tony. I'm in the zone. Shout out to Alan, the coach. We're big things. We're moving the needle.
Oh,
we're moving the needle.
Oh, yes.
I'm in the zone. I'm not messing about. Well, saying that I'm not messing about, I might have just booked a trip to New York there. But we're not messing other than that. Head down until Paddy's Day. Big things. No photo shoots or anything, but...
And when are you away to New York?
Maybe around Paddy's Day.
I didn't get an invite. That's all right.
No, it's only a quick wee trip.
That doesn't mean anything.
In and out, and then Australia in April.
Oh, Jesus. Big plans.
Big plans.
And are you on the cut now then?
On the cut. I've been on the cut since October, but I've been on 3 holidays.
Oh, well, fair enough.
So yeah, but we're down here in lovely Dublin. Swords. It's technically Swords, isn't it? It is Swords. Down in Swords, and we're live. We meant to do this ages ago, but we're live. We're from Swords, and
look at you. Notifications in your phone bounce. So turn that over.
We're talking about.
Thank you very much.
We were talking about topics when we were coming down the road. As always, we're really well organized on this podcast. So we were talking about topics on the way down, and one of the topics that we put up was contentment, which is a big one. It's a big one that most people don't even know what it means.
Well, I was saying earlier,
or what it means to certain people.
I was saying earlier, I think it's a case of that whenever you chase happiness, you end up becoming unhappy because you're telling yourself you're not in a good position. Whereas if you're just like everything's going okay and you're content with how things are going, you're usually in a much better position. It's your reality of expectations, just managing them.
Yeah. But also the other one is, this is the one I thought about. And I thought actually about you when you were on the chase for the building, the growth, the following. You don't enjoy the journey as much because you don't feel content because you need to hit that number. And as soon as you hit the number, then you're like, class. And then you're like, what now? So you miss out on the whole thing going, because like rewind a year and a half ago or when we started this podcast, you'd have been content with 20,000.
Oh, easily.
And then when you started your growth period, you had that 100K and you didn't enjoy the journey where you were jumping up 20 and 30,000 in fucking 3-day periods. Whereas then when you hit the 100, you were kind of like, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Nothing changes.
And then you're like, fuck, where's that Nike brand deal? Is it fucking, when's Ben Francis and fucking Gymshark give me a shout? You know what I mean? But that's not that you thought that, but that's the kind of thing where you can get stuck in the journey so much that the contentment you might miss out on parts where you could have been actually happy. Is contentment equal happiness?
I think it's very tough because as well, like you turn around and I'm like this as well now. I'm very focused on like contentment and enjoying the moment. And the funniest thing sometimes, and I'm sure people will relate to this, like I'd be out for a walk with my mum and we'd just be having a conversation. I'm like, fuck, am I like savoring this enough? Am I enjoying this enough? And then you're overthinking, oh, am I actually enjoying this? And then all of a sudden you're away. And the thing is, I think with us, like as people, we need a carrot to chase. You need something. You need a goal. You need a vision. Yeah. But the balance is doing it, but not hating the process.
Yeah.
Because like if you really think about it, like how long did the 100, like we had a small get together for my 100K. It was literally people on my back, a cake, a glass of champagne, and then we fucking went down and had a meal and that was it. Joe, like we had a bit of crack on my back. Yeah. But like the build up to that was years.
Yeah.
Joe. Oh, yeah. And the thing is, if you didn't enjoy the years, what use is that one moment? Yeah. It's not. It's always the little things, and that's where you go wrong. And the thing is, I'm not saying this from like a preachy perspective. I've done it, and you've done it. You miss the forest for the trees because you're so busy moving, and that's why it's very important. And it's just slow and pace. It's because you've got so many things to do. You know, you've got friends to see, you've got family, you've got a girlfriend, you've got a job, you're trying to figure out what your passion and your life purpose. And there's so many things that you're actually thinking like, what's going on with me right now? How am I feeling? What is the main things that matter to me? And I already have these. So what the fuck am I doing all this? It's like my father, for instance, gets really stressed out sometimes about making dinner. But that's like his
That's
biggest.
because he has to feed you, for
The
fuck's
king.
sake.
No, fuck, I'm strict diet now at the minute. So I am from last Saturday. Not a gram out. My dad's very easy. But it's one of the things where that's his world, that's his perception, that's his reality. But the thing is, it's trying to get him to almost slow down. But the thing is,
Yeah.
you can't make somebody else change and you can't make somebody else slow down. They have to come to a point where they do it themselves. And I do believe that comes as like a realization. So the thing is, that's only happened to me since like the middle to the end of last year, where I've went like, it feels like, I don't know if anybody's like, this is the worst thing ever, but you'll, maybe you won't admit this, Mickey. So I'm going to tune into you.
Right.
Whenever
Let's go.
you take an ease,
No.
right?
Not
Well, there
ease.
you go. Ecstasy, like MDMA.
I know what ease are.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
sorry.
no, not ease. No.
Ah,
no.
he's lying. So Mickey has taken them because he took them with me. He's lying for his
we take them before the podcast.
So anyway, for anybody that has, pretty much you lose completely who you are and then you come back down to earth.
Yeah.
The only way I can explain it, it feels like you're just on a not even a high. It's not you. It's somebody else. It's like a puppet man's pulling the strings. And you will feel this for periods of your life where, like, for example, say you were studying for your A levels or you're studying for an exam and you're just in zone. You're just working. You're towards that goal. And then all of a sudden afterwards you go and you're back in your body. So the best way I explain that is like with the drug, you're away. And then all of a sudden, 12 hours later, 6 hours later, it feels like you were just like plonked back into your body. You're back there. That's exactly how I feel, because even once I was telling you, like my mom and dad were turned around with me in October, and it made me, it really, really hurt me. But it was a good thing as well. Yeah. They were like, fuck, like it's good to have you back. And it was like, you've been gone for so long as a person. They were like, we assumed that this was just who you are now.
Yeah. Well, listeners to the podcast noticed it. Like sort of, I always called zombie mode. Whereas you're pushing that hard in so many different points of your life that this sort of part is like downtime. So you're kind of zone out, but really your head's thinking of 100 things that you need to do tomorrow or you need to do in an hour. Whereas when you're like, say when you sit on the sofa with your family, right, you're like, right, downtime. But then your head goes, tomorrow, Tony, you need to do this.
Yeah.
Or tonight you need to do this, or no, this, oh, you didn't do this. So when you zone down and you deflate, your head starts working then, and you start thinking of more things you can do. And then all of a sudden, as you said, you start like worrying, am I present? And you're doing that much worrying about being present, you're not present. And I would get into modes like that where sometimes you just need to just need to recenter yourself and go, right, I'm here, I'm present. Because you can go through, like I've went on holidays before with like past relationships, and I can't remember one single thing I did in them holidays because I was thinking to myself, when I get back, I want to do this. When I get back, I need to do this. I need to do that. And then when I was thinking, like, it was only maybe in the last, I would say since maybe the year pre-lockdown that I actually became present in anything I did for about 10 years. I would say close enough to 10 years. That whole, from 2011 or 12 to 2018, I can barely remember a fucking thing. And that's the God's honest truth. I can barely remember a thing.
I just blurred into gigs.
Just blurred into thing, blurred into gigs, blurred into work, blurred into the push. Like, if someone said to me, remember when we did this year, I'd be like, no, it couldn't be that year. I base years off. The McGregor fight in Vegas was 2015. So was it before or after that? That is the only way I can pinpoint anything in that period, because I literally could not tell you what happened.
See, does that make you feel a little bit of like shame?
Not shame, but it feels like it's lost.
Yeah.
It feels like lost time, even though I did my best work and I cemented myself, I cemented my career, I cemented everything in that period. It feels like I didn't enjoy, up until my first gig in Ibiza, right? My very first gig in Ibiza was supporting Stormzy. I cannot tell you a thing that happened before that. Like why they picked me, why I was there that time, how that even came about. But yet, fast forward 2018, when I played High Ibiza, I can tell you the whole week running up to it, like literally the scenario which the gig got, because I was zoned in and I was living every single day, every single moment, like literally being as social as ever was, I was training with you at the time, being in the gym, everything was thought about, everything was thought out. I was living life, I was enjoying life, but it's so weird that the whole time before that, I was never present, like in anything. Now, if someone said to me, would you trade it? I don't know either, because I did so much good work in that time.
If you didn't do it, I believe you would have done it at a different time.
Yeah.
It's one of them trade-offs where people will just be going into that block, and we're just trying to say, like, these are the walk the line, try and balance it, because you could have, the funniest thing is too, you probably would have got where you were maybe a tiny little bit slower, but you could have enjoyed things more. Same as me.
But another said some people might go, you could have got there quicker because you would have brought more people in, and that could have
there's pros.
You could have been a lot happier than what you were doing, because there was very little happiness about them. But then I was like, that's okay, because we've got a plan here, we've got a goal here. No, going, and then even there, I think it was with Conliffe. Was it Conliffe? I done a podcast, someone we were talking about. It was just kind of like the story of my life or whatever. And when I was like talking about like highlights, I was saying stuff, and I was like, "Fuck, I actually did that." And I was, Jesus. And then I was forgetting stuff like playing Ministry of Sound in London, going, holy shit, how am I forgetting this stuff? Because back then, in my head, it was insignificant, because the only thing I wanted was Ibiza. That's all I wanted, was a big Ibiza. So it was really weird that, like, one of the biggest things that's ever happened in my life, I kind of like went, right, that's done, go. The goal remains the same. And that's where, like, we actually talked about it a few weeks ago. Now I'm all about the journey. And if anybody ever talks to me about stuff, like we were talking about, like, there's, like, me and 2 Degrees do a lot of gigs together now. And, like, every young band looks up to them. And they're like, oh, I want to do what they want to do. And I was like, lads, just enjoy the journey. That's what the boys do. The boys enjoy the journey. They enjoy every gig. They go to Dubai, they go to New York, they be around the country, put on these big mad gigs. But, like, we just take it as, fuck, we're so lucky to be able to do this. No, instead of before, I was kind of like, let's just get this over and done with, and let's get on to the next one.
Yeah, luck does come down to obviously how hard you work, but I think that relates back to, like, the gratitude for being in the moment and being where you are. And did you see, whenever you were talking about there, I was really trying to listen to that properly. And whenever you were talking about, like, for that period of time, it just felt like a push and everything was going. Like, as I was saying with the puppet, it really felt like I got just brought back, and that feels exactly how I felt about 6 months ago. Yeah. And I think a lot of people listening might struggle to relate to that with business. But the thing is, this can relate to when you've just put everything into, like, a relationship, and then you've got brought back, and you're like, there's more to life than just this relationship. Because there's more to life than just family. There's more to life than just relationship. There's more to life than making money, business, whatever your sport is. Yeah. And then you come back to reality and you realize, right, I don't believe that you need moderation. I believe moderation's a bit of a myth. And I do believe that balance needs to be, I believe that everything in your life is constantly in a flow of different balances, and it's just the trait that you want. So if you want to lock in fully with work, lock in, but you should leave something for the moments. And for me, I feel like I didn't enjoy a lot of the time period where I was building. Yeah. And as you said, would you trade it? It's a very difficult situation, because I don't know what I would get at the end of it. So it's one of them things where, like, there's no point in even, it's like whenever you look at the chessboard of life anyway, you look at all the moves you made and you go, good move. Oh, that was fucking terrible. But the thing is,
what'd you learn from that terrible move?
And you can't go back and change the moves anyway. So the thing is, you looking back at that and going, right, what was the lesson, as you said? I'm going, right, that's the lesson. How do I make sure that doesn't happen again? Drill that in, whether it's thought processing, whether it's therapy, whatever the fuck you need to do to drill that in. And then you don't repeat that mistake, but you do not relive it. There's no point in me turning around and going, oh, Joe, the last 2 years, for example, if you're a dad and you were a fucking terrible dad for 3 years, no point you worrying about the last 3 years. Learn the lessons, make it right if you can, and be good and better from there. It's the same as me with my ones. Yeah. Like, I'm not just there. I am there properly. I am committed to being present. And the thing is, you will loop in and out of that. Like, I'm sure you're not present every single moment. I think a lot of people are too hard on themselves, but at the same time, you don't put enough external blocks in. Like, for example, Joe, I downloaded Opal the other night, as I was saying, Joe, the phone app limiter, to make sure that I'm more present, to try and implement. And the thing is, I feel like a lot of the process and improving yourself, as long as you actually know you're doing what you can to get better, and you're catching yourself on, and you're like, right, well, do you know what? I am improving, even if it's just a small bit. Yeah. I feel like that in itself is enough for you to go, things are moving in the right direction for me.
Well, we talked about it, I think, was it probably New Year's? If you're 1% better every day, you're 365% better at the end of the year. And 1% is like maybe one tiny wee thing you could do every day. And if it is, like, download the app. Actually, I was going to text you because I found myself doing a bit extra scrolling these days. And it never annoyed me doing a bit extra scrolling. But I was in the gym the other day, and I was like, you know what? How long am I actually spending consuming shite that I don't like? Or consuming shite? Like, I found myself knowing TikTokers' names.
Yeah.
Going, fuck me. Like, I know that clown's name. And you bring, he's whatever, he's doing his thing. But you're bringing zero, you're bringing zero to me. So why am I looking, and why am I obsessed of looking at your stuff? And I was just like, so if I cut that out, that could help me sleep a wee bit better. That could give me an extra. It was just kind of, because life's pretty busy at the moment. I was kind of like, so where can I make, and I am struggling to fit in training. Training at the minute's taking me, with cardio and weights, split up 2 hours a day. An hour of training and then say an hour of a walk, right? That's hard to get in sometimes. So I'm kind of like, right, how can I make that easier to get in that I have no excuses? And one of the ways is stop scrolling so much. Stop watching. I love YouTube. Like, fuck, I love YouTube. Like, I'll never give up YouTube, but I do it on the treadmill now. I don't really scroll on Instagram, but TikTok has got me. Sucks me in every evening for about half an hour.
That's because, did you ever see how, like, the idea...
the idea based around it with the traction of minutes, and it goes on to the next one, starts straight away.
Yeah, I do believe as well, like, when Facebook started getting viral videos at the start, there was like a big uproar about the fact of that it was actually stealing people's attention and becoming like a trigger for people to stay on the app longer. And the funniest thing is, because the app was made to connect people, it was now absorbing people, and they actually pushed away from short form addictive content. They pushed the opposite. That's why Facebook's pretty much dead now.
Yeah, well, dead. They went to rival YouTube,
and then the funniest thing is, as soon as obviously somebody caught on that short form is obviously more, all of a sudden you've seen the rise of Instagram, but then you've seen the rise of TikTok, which in my opinion is, and this is me being straight, like, I post on TikTok, I will not consume content on them platforms.
Yeah.
I think it is literally, and this sounds terrible, it's fucking like the devil, TikTok, because the thing is, you do get knowledge, don't get me wrong, there is some people out there that value you, but the way the algorithm has worked is it's made to hook you, so you go on it and you lose 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And you go, what did I, and people go, I'm on there to learn. Joe, you're picking up people like us from that. Yeah, that's all dead on. But you go, what did I learn? And you're like, none.
Well, if you think about the amount of videos you'd have to watch in 40 minutes, like, it's, like, if you, what's that? Like, no video is really a minute long, really, on it. So you're consuming, say, at least 50 videos in that period. You're never going to remember 50 videos.
Doesn't sound like much, 50 videos, though. But when you say 50 minutes, you're like, holy fuck. And I think if you imagine, if I turn around you and I had on this, say on this laptop or on the screen, I had the hours you've spent on your phone for your entire life. I guarantee you both of us would go, like, you would feel shame. You wouldn't even feel like anything else. And I feel like that's something that we struggle with, and I'd say that's something that people at home struggle with. And then it's sort of going, I think there's two thought process for it. I think there's external things you can do, like, for example, your app limits, you're leaving your phone outside the room. I've seen that case thing where you can put your phone in it and lock it. I believe when you do stuff like that, you'll be proud of yourself because you're actually trying. So you're doing it. These things are made to addict you, right? You're never going to give up your phone. That's not realistic. But you also have to turn around and go, have I done this right? These aren't working. What's next? And see, for me, I've got the app limits, and I noticed, right, these are working to an extent. Opal's working, but I'm noticing I'm on Facebook sometimes when I wake up. Like, maybe I'm out for a walk and I'm on Facebook and I'm like, I don't even like seeing what and the thing is, so what I
don't care what other people are doing.
So what I done was, see, when I caught that, I didn't go, well, it's like off. I deleted Facebook. I deleted Snapchat. I deleted Instagram from phone. And then the thing is, see the amount of time people go, deleting Instagram off your phone's a bit extreme. But then see, whenever I turn around them and I go, it takes me maybe a minute to download Instagram and log in whenever I need to post and then delete it again, rather than turn around and go, I just have Instagram on my phone for scrolling. And the thing is, see the quality of my life when I've done that. And the funniest thing is, you will say this, people will know that will improve their life. But then why do you think people don't do that?
Because, well, we kind of said it already. They don't really, you want to.
It's got to be pain, is it? Not pain.
It's kind of like, right, so I want my life to be better, but I don't want to put in too much effort to make it better. Now, I'll tell people. It's like we talked about the self-help books. No, I'll regurgitate the shit, but will I ever actually implement it? When people share these inspirational quotes or they listen to podcasts and go, everybody needs to listen to this podcast, it's going to change your life. If you think about it, how many of them actual tips that someone has give out or Stephen Bartlett's talked about it, many of them tips is people actually implemented. No, many people has read the 4-hour work week we talked about and still works 50 and 60 hours a week, but yet is very quick to tell somebody else, you need to read that book, it'll change your life.
I will be really open here, and it's maybe in straight. I would say until the middle of last year, I'd say September when shit hit the fan for me, I was a complete hypocrite. Everything I would even say on podcasts to you, I'd be like, this is really good stuff and this is really good. And I'd be like, I should be implementing this, but I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is, it took people in my close circle, family, all that, to turn around to me and go, like, you know everything, but you're not doing it. And then I sat, and I'm not joking, I pondered this, like, literally for about 3 hours before we came down. I was walking for about 2 hours, mate. I'm not joking, I have about 15,000 steps, only weak feet, I can't walk faster. And I pondered the idea of, right, when I know all this, why was I a hypocrite for fucking 3 years? Why was I saying, Joe, you need to spend time with family, but then working so much? And see, whenever I break it down, it's because I didn't have any pain to change. I didn't have a reason. I didn't have a catalyst. And see, whenever I got that instantly. So the problem is, sometimes you need that real dip to make you go, I need to sort these things out. And the problem is, see, if you don't have that dip, you need to try and figure out or get it somewhere, even think about it. Because I do believe if you're just, as you said, you're trying to compromise to an extent. You're like, I want to get better, but I'm willing to put in a wee bit of effort. Whereas you need to be like, I actually have no choice but to get better in that sense, because it's like, this is what's happening to me. And it's a sense of like, see, whenever I look back and I go think of like, how's my relationship going to be with my mum, my auntie, my dad, when they die? Am I going to look back and go, I didn't even listen to them, I was on my phone? And I think that's honestly why, and it's straight, see with my ones. See, whenever my granny and my granddad died, my auntie and my mum were extremely close. They visited them most days.
Yeah.
I don't think mum or auntie cried at all at the funeral. Yeah. And it was because, and mum, I remember, I think there might have been a wee bit of, like, very, very little compared to other people. Yeah. And at the end, my mum goes, is that a bit weird? And I goes, no, because when you aren't in regret, there's a difference than people that are mourning and people that are going, oh, they're almost feeling sorry for themselves because they know they've done wrong.
Well, especially if your mum was there through the whole time.
Exactly.
She was, like, they would have known it was coming. So you get used to the fact that it's any day, any week, rather than the person who comes in when the last rites are given and they've got 5 minutes to say their goodbyes. Where if you're there every day, every week, like the primary care, the problem they will have will be filling that void because they don't have the care for their parent. But they've got used to the fact, probably in the rundown, like the month, the weeks, that they're not going to be about forever. But the person who hasn't went to see them is more in a shock. Because my mum would have been similar with my granny. She was very upset, but it was happening, and she got used to that fact over a period of maybe 3 or 4 months.
What, I know this is slightly off topic, but I don't think I've ever asked you this. Like, what do you think happens
when you die?
Yeah,
haven't a clue. Like, literally haven't a clue. I hope you're not just in a box.
You hope. What do you think?
I hope that the cycle just starts again. You go back to Baba mode. Like, literally, when you die, the next baby coming out, Quinzer's out. And then then it starts again.
It's going to be reincarnated with the same name.
Quinzer, no, it'll be me, but just in a baby.
Do you believe in do you think you'll come back as a person, or do you think you like reincarnation where you're going to come back as like, Joe, a representation of how good you lived this life? So like you would come back maybe as a slug?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I think, no, I don't know. I just think that hopefully it starts again. There has to be more to it. I don't know if, like, when you die, this version of me goes to heaven or goes to hell, and you live your life out in heaven, or like another life in heaven or hell. I don't know if that would be the thing, but I would hope it's just a cycle and you start again.
Like, it's very, very interesting because, like, I would say,
because it's one of them weird ones. I don't think about things like that because I know there's no answer.
See, I do ponder stuff like
that. Because if I know there is no answer to it, I can't think about it because it would send me doolally.
But then, see, I get a sense of freedom from it whenever I think about it. Because, see, for me, whenever I really, truly think about it, I'm like you, I hope for the best.
Yeah.
But in reality, when I think about it, I'm like, odds are you're probably ending up in a box, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so I was told by someone, I'm not going to name names,
Jesus Christ himself.
I was told by someone that I was going to hell because I wasn't saved by the Lord Jesus Christ.
They're pretty bang on. If there is a hell,
right? So because I wasn't saved by the Lord Jesus himself. Now, I was definitely 100% going to hell, and I was told this by someone who was nearly my family.
Right.
So work that out, right? And I was told in no uncertain terms, you do realize you're going to hell, and I was like, why? And they were like, and I was like, but you aren't. And they were like, no, we're not. And I'm like, fuck that. So now this was a Thursday evening after dinner. This was like normal chat. So, but like, I can't ponder them. I don't think about that stuff because nobody knows the answer.
I ponder quite a lot, and I think the reason that I do is like the funniest thing is I wonder, is this like just a thing me and my dad and me constantly go for walks with our dog, and do you know what's the closest thing to our house?
The graveyard.
So we constantly talk about death like lunatics, and we always have conversations. Like my dad's very, very religious. Like he wouldn't come across and start knocking your door and be like the Jesus Lord, but like he'll be the first person. Like my dad sticks 20 quid in the wee basket every week, no sweat, and we'll light candles flat out. And the thing is, I actually admire. Like it's not that there's maybe, it's like there is.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I do believe there is something going on.
There is. It's sometimes it's just hard to when bad things happen to good people or bad things happen in the world, like that disaster in Turkey at the moment. Sometimes it's hard just to go, why? Why would you allow that to happen? Or why would you allow September 11 to happen? Or why would you allow the tsunami in Thailand to happen? Why would you allow wee babies that haven't sinned to die? Why would you allow this? Why would you? But then if you're a person of faith, you have to believe that that's God's way, and there's the bigger picture. Like I know people who's lost like loved ones in the last year, and like they didn't deserve that sort of pain. So I'd be like, and they live their life very good, and they would do anything for everybody, and they like would literally, if I called this person now and says, here, I'm stuck in Dublin, they would drive to Dublin, or they would work out a way to get me, and they would do it for anybody. But they were put through a year of hell. So you'd think to yourself, why? What? But then they also are people of faith, and they would think, right, there's a bigger purpose for what happened, and that's probably the only way you can get any strength or solace.
I was going to say,
out of what happened, but you still have to think about it in a little bit of a selfish way, going, why would you do this to me? Why now? I need this person in my life right now. Why would you take this person away from me? That's where I don't struggle with that, but I know people that do struggle with that because it's they feel like it's questioning their faith in God in a way. But
I think
everything does happen for a reason in life, and I think every journey and every up and down happens. Now afterlife, I don't understand what happens or why it happens. I don't try to understand it because I know there's no answer. All I do is I know there's been ups in my life, there's been downs, there's been sideways, there's been forwards, there's been good times, there's been bad times, and I just take it all. And I learn from the bad things, I learn from the good things. I learn what I like and what I don't like. I don't compromise anymore on, I just do things that make me happy, and hopefully someone else joins and makes it even happier. I used to would have compromised. So now I'm at a point of contentment that I find, well, I'm not as content as I was, but contentment where I enjoy all the good times and all the bad times, because I know that the bad times are happening for a reason, and if I learn from them, like everybody, like I don't know how many times people think they've been in love and stuff. You know, sometimes like your first girlfriend, you're fuck, I loved her, and you 2 years later, like, Jesus Christ, I don't even know if I liked her. You know what I mean? and then years later, you're like, fuck, I'm in love again. And then years after that, you're like, fuck, jeez, I did that again. She's not even that nice, And then you find one that you're like, right, she's the one. And then if you lose that person, you're like, fuck, she was the one, or whatever, or you're thinking, but. The thing behind it is, like, you could either learn from your mistakes, or you can keep making the same mistake. Like, everybody knows that one person, like their friend that falls in love with every girlfriend, goes, text and go, lad, found her.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, this one again.
I think as well, whenever it comes to stuff like that, if you don't learn your lesson, I feel like you're destined to repeat it.
Oh, destined.
Like every time.
Like, I would have did that years ago.
Oh, see, at the start of like years and years ago when I was 18, I remember last week I was talking about the number. So just roughly after I had done the diddly for the first time, anybody listening, there was a question I wanted to ask in that as well. I forget it now because I wanted to say it on the podcast. It wasn't that. It's gonna.
We got lit up. We got lit up in the
Did we?
In the anonymous question.
What about the numbers?
About me not giving out a number.
Yeah. See, I didn't think that looked good.
I don't have the number to give out.
Yeah, but you can ballpark. No.
That would be lying.
455.
Well,
I got loads of people messaging me. Fucking buckets going 10 my arse, 10.
I've got a couple of them.
Now, don't get me wrong. It might not be 10 the head. It could be slightly over, slightly under.
Yeah.
I don't go.
It's under 20. Anyway,
see whenever I don't go one and scrab it into a fucking arse cheek and go, there's another one on the fucking belt.
Yeah.
Because realistically, well, it'd be a very, very short. It'd be like a tiny, tiny, tiny belt. But it'd be one of them things where, for me, I don't value myself worth of that. Like me sticking my dick into any hole that will take it will give me no value in my life. And I'm sure you're the exact same. If you've done that as an individual, I know loads of males have done that. And do you know what happens is they turn around whenever they're 30 and they go, what the fuck was the point in any of that? And they live a life based off a short-term gratification of pulling.
Yeah.
And whenever they have a drink, it's just like, oh, well, I pulled a night out. And I'm like, that's great, mate. That is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But realistically, in your life, do you think that is gonna fucking... It's like on a night out. See, for me, that is like the last thing I used to ever even think of. I used to just think, I'm going out for a laugh, for a memory. Like, especially when I was 18, I remember all used to be going out, but she's going here tonight. And I was like, what? Like, what is this?
See, I was never into that sort of thing. But also, my kind of life and your life would have been different, whereas you were always, after uni time, after you got that, you were in training mode.
Oh, mate, I was...
Whereas I was kind of going through hedonistic mode.
Head what?
Hedonistic. Like, I was more...
Explain the term, please.
Like, so... living life to the fullest all around the world.
And what the fuck was
so
I
you're
doing?
well, like I was in, like spent a lot of time in America, spent Australia, Southeast Asia. You know,
I spent a lot of time in the gym.
Yeah, you were in the gym and living. You were on your broccoli and chicken, and I was fucking
living the life.
I living the life and messing about. Hence why there hasn't been there's not been that many long-term relationships. So
that's that
was one of
that
was one of the. But I was never in the one place long enough to have that.
But I think even with that though, it's also realizing that like there's a price for everything.
Oh yeah.
So like I know it sounds nuts, but it is really picking where your hours go. Like even when we're here, right? We both decided to do this. The price of this is, Joe, we don't get to spend an hour of our family or an hour. You just pick where your time goes, and that's your most valuable asset. But the thing is, you don't realize that.
But one of the things I would say, the reason I have a good outlook in life is because of the experiences I've had in that respect.
You look at the people you admire, maybe, or the people you're like, holy fuck, they did not get a cushy ride.
No.
Like people, like the first person I always think of who's doing like, you think of like The Rock, and then you're like, well, got dropped from the NFL or whatever it was.
Got dropped from the Canadian.
Yes, not even the NFL. He didn't get in there, and then he had $7 in his. So you imagine how shit you would have felt. And it's one of the things I do believe that there is two types of people. When you hit rock bottom, some people go, right, that's it. I'm going to use this like fuel. And then there's people that almost feel like the world's against them. But I feel like that is like
you have to prove a point now.
You've got everything you need to build your house.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you decide whether you're going to go, oh, I just have wood and blocks, like what use, or you go, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I do believe that the more adversity you face as an individual, the more you're likely to succeed. And that is honestly, like as I was saying, whenever I had a tricky issues when I was younger, I believe that was all the fuel for moving forward. And I'm sure, even as you're saying there, do you think, see, relating back to faith, do you believe in destiny? Like, do you believe everything is like no matter what you do, it's gonna, or do you believe like it's...
I don't believe in everything's like pre-planned. I do believe if you follow the path and take the hints and learn from your mistakes.
What's a hint?
So say if like
intuition,
listen to your gut.
How do you describe? Do you describe? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. It's just I'm curious because I'm almost wanting this answer for people listening and myself because what is intuition, gut, following your head? Do you know like all these terms? Like people go, oh, like I'm following my gut. Like,
so say if like for the way I do it is right.
Get it, but
say if they answer, say if like you say to me, let's go and open a coffee shop in Newry. Straight away, that would tell me, I would go, right, I'm not sold on Newry as a town, right?
Yeah.
In general, I'm not just sold on it. So my gut is telling me you need to do more, right? I need to look into more. But say someone goes to me, something like say, for instance, I've done my homework and I know exactly there's a location in Belfast that really needs a good coffee shop. Someone says to me that location, straight away, my gut will tell me, go for it. Because everything that's got me to a point with intelligence-wise and learning, I know that's
calculated decision, really.
It's a calculated decision, and I should listen instead of like hesitating. I should just listen to where I've went and what I've done in the past to go, right. So your gut decision when it comes to something like, if, like, say for instance, a gear.
See with that, the decision about that. So say your gut is saying yes, but you know what, you'll get that thought process of, oh, there's a risk. Is that your mind versus gut?
That is, well, yeah.
And then you have to weigh up what's, even though it's both your mind, because they're both thought processing.
Yeah.
People go, that's my gut. Like your intuition is like your initial thoughts.
Your intuition's your initial thoughts.
And then your thought processing after that is like, so that's sort of like your mind versus your intuition.
I'm different because I leave emotion out of it. I don't make emotional decisions.
But for somebody that does, how would you say
someone that does emotional, if someone knows that they make emotional decisions, they need to slow down, listen to their gut, and then take it to the next step and go, right, is this realistic? There's so many people we know that make real or unrealistic decisions all the time.
Do you know what I think is a really good turnaround for that as well is when especially a lesson I've learned the last while is when you are emotional about a decision, and you can't make up your decision because your gut, your mind, everything's telling you something different. You're unsure. You will go to other people for advice.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're only getting your view or that side of this, and they're doing it off their perspective. And the thing is, you almost want somebody just to tell you what to do because you won't make a decision. And I feel like that's almost trying to pass the buck. Whereas you need to do what you're saying. Slow down and go, I'm not an emotional person. That's the story I'm selling myself. And you need to make the decision then based on, right, well, even if it is wrong, I'm listening to this. This is what I'm doing and I'm going for it. Whereas I feel like you try and, especially me, I think I've tried to cop out before, especially whenever it's been something I'm not good at, like emotions or family life or stuff like that. You sort of turn around and go, what should I do? Because you want somebody else to take a lead. And I think a really good quote is it the first time a man becomes a man is when you stop asking your dad for advice or somebody in your life for advice because you realize that person doesn't have any more idea than you.
Yeah, well, that's the same everything in life.
You're just trying to pass the buck.
Everybody in life's the same, unless it's something like fucking brain surgery or the brain surgeon. But everybody, it doesn't matter who they are. Everybody is just getting through life the best they can. You know, people can give you advice. They're not experts. Unless it's something that they've trained to do all their life and you literally have no clue. Nobody's an expert. It just, they know what works for them. And they know what works 9 times out of 10. Mightn't work at one time and then you go, he's a fucking idiot. He gave me bad advice. You're like, but that advice works 9 times out of 10. Just didn't work this time. That's what a lot of people think about. They go, oh, go to this guy. He's got all the answers. And the answer may work for you, but the next boy down the street, the answer mightn't work.
Exactly. And then you have to take into account that it is advice. And the fact of the matter is, it's still your fault if it goes wrong because you implement it. Like I'm sure you get some things where people say things and you go, you're like, somebody says it to you and you're like, fuck no. Like you're almost like in your butt, and then you're like, right, bang on. Whereas I used to probably be the sort of person that'd be like, that person knows more than me on that, and then you start to you start to change your reality inside your head to like believe them.
Well, my background with the marketing and hospitality, my big thing was I don't always know what will work, but I can 100% tell you what won't work, and I can look at anything and go from an outset, that's not going to work, and I will never be wrong. In that case. But if they go to me, what will work? I'll go, I don't know. Let me think about it. But I can fucking 110 tell you that's not going to work. And then they text you a week later, go, how did Saturday night go? Oh, fuck, lad, I lost a fortune. I was like, of course. We knew that wasn't going to work. It was totally wrong. But when they go, oh, what will work? I'm like, I don't know. I'll need to go in. It's psychology. You need to go in and actually look at the clientele, what the clientele want, what their buying habits want. That's what I do with venues. It's not always having the answer, but sometimes it's easier to know. It's even in life, you can go, right, I know this girl's a 10 out of 10 smoke show, but she's a fucking wingnut. I know down the line this isn't going to work. Will I take it on the head for a couple of weeks? Bit of fun, maybe a month or 2. I know there's a chance she's going to stab me in my sleep, right? And I know it's not going to work. You know it's not going to work.
You want a bit of crazy though. You don't want to.
But you still might take that hit. You still might take that hit. You might get a black eye out of it. Could become homeless out of it. But I'll take that for a couple of months of fun, right? You know in your head, you always know when something's not going to work. You might lie to yourself for a while, but if you're in tune with, like you can know yourself. Like you knew when we talked about the raffle thing.
Yes.
We talked about it before. Me and you, when you launched it, me and you talked about it, and I said to you, I don't think that's going to work. And you said to me, oh no, it's not going to work. And I'm like, why are you doing it? And you're like, too far down the line now.
Yeah, it's
and
sort
you knew you were like, but we want to, just in case it does work, want to do something for charity.
I'm the worst person ever because I'd rather do it and it fail than not do it and go, what could have that been? I'm just a nightmare for that. I really do like that. Do you know what's another really good example of that thought process is if you are like this now, everybody knows how to get in shape now. But say let's go back 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And nobody knows about calories and all this is brand new. You don't know what's going to get you in shape because you're unsure.
Yeah.
But you sure as fuck know what's going to make you fatter. So,
100%.
So don't eat as many takeaways. Maybe you should exercise a little bit more. Maybe you should look after your head as well. Look after everything on the inside and the outside. And then all of a sudden,
well, the head thing's only come in now in the last couple of years. Like,
but you even think about what's the worst thing you can do? You know, bury yourself in your if you're not feeling good, what is the worst thing you can do for yourself? Probably bury yourself in your room, be on your phone, anything, and then you just do the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, it's that easy. Whatever makes something worse, the opposite will usually make it better. Like, if you're procrastinating and you're like, right, well, what is the reasons for this?
Move more.
Exactly. And you just build out. It's like, right, what has got me to this position, right? I've done all these things. It's like, for me, I was working far too much and everything in my life was going like one direction, wasn't going too much of this. And then I go, right, well, what was I doing for that? Right, I'm going to do the opposite. And then all of a sudden I've done the opposite and everything's starting to go hunky-dory now. And I'm going, great. Joe, people don't like when things are that. That's a simplistic answer to a very complicated issue. But it's one of the things where everything, if you can't simplify things, I went to a course before by Broderick Chavez, and he said, if you can't write the answer to a question that somebody asks you on a notepad, you don't understand it enough. You don't understand what you're talking about enough. If you have to give complex, he wrote everything you needed to ever know about nutrition, training, and water. I mean this tiny little square. And I mean, it was, and the thing is, I was like, see, whenever you see it, you're like,
eat less, drink more.
It was like, Joe,
move more.
Even wrote like rough
sleep
macros on it. Yeah, it was like real. And you were like, well, I can't really argue that. And he was like, if you do all that, that's 90% of the jigsaw. He was like, and most people aren't even nailing that. And he even done that with like relationship stuff and other stuff that he was doing. But I find it very interesting because if somebody doesn't understand a topic enough, you'll hear them rigmarole around it. It's like when me and you talk about certain topics, you'll know the ones we understand, and then because we'll boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then when we talk about something like faith, we almost have to talk around it to understand it.
Yeah.
But then there will be people that almost are doing loops because they don't have a fucking note.
Yeah. Well, if you listen to someone like Jordan Peterson, he gives you the answer in the first 3 or 4 words.
And then explains.
And then he explains it. And then he goes into a rant. And then he goes back. But saying that, this is the answer. 4 words.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, I feel like
sometimes if he doesn't want to answer, do you ever hear he goes, well, no, I don't really want to get into this. And then he gives us like a big long-winded thing because you're like, he just hates that question and he doesn't want to get into it. That is a lot of the way. Like you get like the PTs or the fitness influencers or the gurus in business when they do these like shouting videos and ranting like Grant Cardone style. You're like, what the fuck is that about? You know, what are you shouting at me about? You're like, right, you're on your private jet, you're telling me to do this, you're telling me to do that. But you're not actually saying how. You're kind of going, this is why you're not successful.
This is like these people that say, get up the fuck and let's go at it now. No.
Like there's one David Goggins started that. If you're not up, you're not doing this. You're not doing this. This is the man that near killed himself on numerous occasions to get in shape. No, you shouldn't be listening to David Goggins about fucking anything because he's one of one.
And on top of that, I had somebody the other way. I had one of my clients write to me the other week and go, I was listening to David Goggins the other day and now I just don't know what the fuck's going on. And I was like, what was it? He was talking about purpose and the fact that if you don't know what the fuck your purpose is, you need to go out and find it. And I was like, see the pressure that ball bag has put on her?
Yeah.
Because of that. And now don't get me wrong, I understand some people will listen to him and I've read his books and his books are
they're amazing.
Unreal. But Can't Hurt Me is epic. It's
but he's
so
one of one. There's no second David Goggins.
And the thing is, see if you were to talk to me in a different conversation about him, I'd be like, I admire him, his work ethic's sick, and he's a cool dude. But see, whenever you talk about him compared to a normal person,
you can't.
There's nothing wrong with it. But then, do you know what he doesn't talk about in his books? Failed marriages, issues with relationships.
And the fact he wasn't really a Marine.
There's Joe, but without fucking, I was giving him a little punch. You just went straight.
No,
well,
he wasn't like but he's the most famous like Marine guy who didn't actually shoot people.
But the thing is, when you're that successful in that area of your life, and then you look at where's he no word on where he's fallen down. And the thing is, for me, a complete person is not like. Don't get me wrong. There's people doing just as extraordinary things as him.
Oh yeah.
But have a better balance. Whereas and the thing is, he's a character now. You need to realize you'd be waking up going, I'm fucking David Goggins. Like I need to be out in the fucking snow.
Well, he's just Goggins. Like I was actually just a fucking
But
meme.
I don't like that pressure of where, and I feel like, see, purpose and passion, these are so, these are phrases that are like one dimensional. And like, you must only have one thing. Like, it sounds nuts, but I have a passion for like spending time with a little dog and walking it. Like, it doesn't mean that my life now needs to be this, or I have a passion for fitness. It doesn't mean my life needs to be. You need to figure out what brings you as a person a whole. You can't be just one dimensional, because it'll just eat you up. And I feel like, see, the fact, like, when stuff like that gets consumed, it's like the podcast. You go looking for a golden nugget on a podcast, you'll get it. But the thing is, you need to weigh up whether that's the right nugget for you. Like, that person listened to that podcast because she was looking at an answer. Yeah. She got an answer, but it put her under so much pressure. It wasn't the right one for what she needed. Yeah. And that's very hard whenever you're learning from a standpoint and you're going, what do I need right now? And you're getting told by somebody that is literally, society is fucking praising.
I throw money at them.
And the thing is, see, for somebody else listening, that is the perfect answer right now, because that person will go figure out their life and move forward. See, for another person, that'll send them down a downward spiral. It's all in the way you perceive exactly what he says. Because see, them exact words to me, to you, to somebody else will mean fucking 40 different things. Yeah. So it's just where you are, and then it's perceiving that and then changing it.
Well, people know that. I think most people, everybody has a purpose, right? They just don't know what they do know. They just haven't caught on that they realize what it is. The reason that being is they're working full time, they're under pressure at home, they're raising a family, they're keeping people alive.
That can be your purpose.
No, that probably is their purpose.
Exactly.
But when they get someone like David Goggins going, "What's your purpose?" You're like thinking, "Fuck, it has to be something bigger than actually being the best mum in the world, or the best dad in the world, or the best family, having the best family in the world." They're thinking, "Fuck, I need to do 100 things. Everybody's doing so much more than me." But maybe your thing is that. No, that's fine that your thing's that. No, you don't have to be spinning 1,000 plates. I mean, there's loads of times where, like, I have a friend that laughs when he hears all like the different things I'm involved with. He's like, "Fuck, man, geez, it's wild hard to keep up with." And I'm like, I would love to just spin one plate and be happy as fuck with that one plate.
Yeah, that's it, though.
But I wouldn't be content in doing that, because I like the madness that my life revolves around. The fact that I'm in a different place every day. There's a 4-hour work week book sitting right there, actually. I don't notice that. And but that's what I like about, like, see, when I take downtime, I get so bored. I like the manicness in it. I like the fact that, like, come Easter, me and the boys are doing Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 5 gigs in Northern Ireland we need to sell out, which is fucking hard to do. But we want to do it because we love that madness. We love that push. We want that kind of craziness where someone goes to me, I could honestly, right, not do anything else and live off DJing.
Do you think, just framing it back to the start there, because I think this will relate a lot to other people. Do you think the reason that you enjoy the madness, though, is because you're actually conscious about it? Whereas I feel like a lot of the time for me with the madness, I didn't. I knew, but I didn't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas you're very conscious, like, I enjoy the madness. Now, I enjoy my madness. Yeah. Now, I've actually been like, what do I want? And now I've dialed it back from, say, a 10 to like a 7, and I'm like, I'm very in control. This is as mad as I like it. It's not too much. Whereas I feel like for a lot of people, they're spinning too many plates and they don't realize they're spinning that many. And I feel like that was me. And I think a lot of people relate to that. You're spinning, Joe. You could be a mum. You could be a partner. You could be, and technically, see, being a mum and a wife, 2 very different things. So you're playing 2 roles. Yeah. Same as a husband and a dad. And then the thing is, you could be, Joe, an employee and a friend. You could be a role model. There's so many different, and you don't realize all these different plates you're spinning for people and yourself. And then, as you said, we enjoy the madness. So we add in extra
plates. But then
like
my 7 and your 7 could be different.
Oh, completely.
You know, I find when I hit a 9 in the madness scale, I start to kind of unravel a bit.
No, I don't.
Where I would kind of go, right, I'm getting a wee bit stressed here. Because the plates, all my plates are very, very quantitative, very fast. So if it's a bad Saturday night, quantifiable. They're on to you on a Sunday morning. Or if it's a good one, we want more of you. Give me more dates. Give me more of this. I want more. Come here, come there. Let's have this meeting, you know. Or it's very quantifiable, very fast, rather than every month or 2 months someone goes to you, oh, that didn't really work out. I'm getting it the next day, that night, the next morning. But I like the fact that I'm getting, the other thing is too, I'm doing what I love doing. You know, I want to be in that arena. If I was doing it like something I wasn't really like, I was kind of like, this is good money, but I don't really like it, I would jack out.
Were you like me, though, When you started, did you love it? Or did
I know, always loved it.
See, I didn't. I didn't love fitness at all.
Because, well, first of all, coming out of college, trained to be a chef, right? DJing was the passion. DJing was always the passion. But cooking and DJing, time-wise, finishing the kitchen 9 o'clock, starting DJing 10 o'clock, couldn't do it. Had to make the call. And that's when it was always going to be DJing. So done DJing, but then realised, once I said again, I knew what didn't work in certain venues. So I started to talk to the venues and tell them stuff, and then they realised, fuck, this boy's rarely wrong. So then I started doing the hospitality marketing. Don't do marketing in any other sector, only hospitality. Started doing hospitality marketing, started doing like social media for hospitality, all that sort of stuff. And then, but with the DJing all along. So the two of them went hand in hand the whole way, right to where we are now. I've only consulted with a couple of venues now, but I help out like we do. So we do the Sunset Bros tour over from Australia, do the European tour every year. Do Restricted, who's a new DJ, and then do all the bookings in Northern Ireland. I booked 2,100 live slots every year. It's up to 2,100. So 2,100 paydays for different people.
5 gigs a week
around the country. So for live music people. So there's 2,100 slots that I fill every year for people. Yeah. And then if they cancel, then I have to fill them again. So,
but did you always, relating it back, did you always enjoy it? Like from the start?
Oh, I love it.
See, I find
there is tough moments where you have to tell someone their shit.
Did like when you started within like a week, a month? Because I'm curious. This is for people as well that are going, I haven't really found my thing yet, because I feel like there's so much pressure in that. You know, with that like purpose question, that passion question. So like, and the thing is, because I find this, I'm the exact opposite of that. Yeah. When you started spinning decks, did you immediately go?
Always loved it.
See, I find that very interesting because I fucking hated exercise. I hated the gym. I hated being topless in front of people. And the only reason I liked it is because I spent that long at it. I got good at it. And then when you're better at something than most people, you enjoy it. Like there was nothing, like see, especially when I struggled with self-esteem, there was nothing that gave me more confidence than when I used to go into the gym and I used to lift 40 kilo dumbbells. Then it was 50. Then it was 60s. And when you struggle with your self-worth, but you're better than everybody at something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It makes you feel better about yourself. And for me, that's why I ended up falling in love with the gym. And then over time, it's went past that. But initially, it was that stage of where...
Does it feel like work?
No.
See, that's the thing. I always say this. See, the day DJing feels like work, I'm gone. I'm out the door.
I think that comes down to flow, doesn't it? For example, like I know when something feels like work because I'm aware of time. I'm not in flow. Whereas you see when I'm in flow, when I'm in the gym, I don't know what time it is. And that's usually the only reason I'll ever be late for anything is because I've spent too long in the gym in flow. Like I'd be dancing in between my fucking sets and all like a lunatic. But it's one of them things where for me, the more of your life you can spend that flow mode where you're not looking at the clock and you're not absorbed by procrastination and small things, the more of your life you're happy. Like I always notice I'm happiest in the car singing along to music or in the gym or small things at home with family where you're not on your phone. You're not. And then whenever I look at like what I was doing for a long time periods, I'm like, I was overworking, I was on my phone loads. And then you wonder why maybe you weren't feeling as content as we were relating it back to the subject. It's because when you look at what makes you good, you're doing the fucking opposite. So then exactly as we were saying earlier, when you realize what's making you feel down or bad, and you do the opposite, you feel better. And that's exactly what I've done, and I'm sure you have.
It's the same as people, we talk about our circle smaller. You mightn't realize, but there's your best friend, someone who could be your best friend for years, over the last, say, period of years, may not bring any value to your life and may actually be a drain. There could be someone in your life that you could love them to death, but every time they talk to you,
Sorry, I was trying to reach the
every time they talk to you, they wreck your mood because they're always complaining, they're always moaning, they're draining your like happiness out of you. We've talked about this. Like I have had friends that I've been friends with pretty much all my life, and I'm still friends with them to this day. But I don't be around them as much because they're a drain.
I feel like people have, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, they have an aura. Like there's an energy around people when you meet them, and I feel like
there's people you meet and they change your life. Like I met someone a couple of years ago, changed my life altogether, made me think bulletproof, right? I've also met people in the last few years who I have to do work with, but I also know what they're about, so I keep them at arm's length. See the people at work, bring them closer. The people that don't work, keep them at arm's length. You don't fall out with them.
Sometimes it's very tough to do that though.
It comes back to emotional. Don't be emotional about it.
Yeah, because people get emotional because say that's a family member.
Yeah, I have no emotion around a family. Like.
But see, then some people do, you know, so people turn around and go, oh, distance yourself. But then say your brother is giving you, you're getting that energy from him. But then that can be either his energy or your perception of who he is. So then you have to try and either flick your perception. That's the only way you get round that, if that person has to be in your life.
Well, they can still be in your life, but you
change the role to play.
You change the role, yeah. But it's like us here. If it was life or death situation, you had to phone one person. Would you phone your best friend? Would you phone your brother? Or who would be the person you phone? If the answer is you're phoning your best friend, that automatically that person goes to the top of the pile. It's that in that life or death situation. Do you phone your mum? Your mum's the top of the pile. Do you phone your dad? Top of the pile. But you know,
first time.
But you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where I leave emotion out of it when it comes to sometimes in life, and this is it. Sometimes you do need to be slightly selfish for yourself, and that's why when people make decisions and they go, "It's not you, it's me," or "It's not based on you, it's me. I had to make the right decision." That I totally understand when people go from that, because sometimes it has to come down to your own well-being. Yeah. And then I think a lot of people, like, how many times, you probably not, but you've been in these like toxic relationships and it is a bit of fun or whatever, right? But then you realize that
stops you. I'm wondering, is this all related to some woman?
No, it's nobody in general. No, I'm talking about people in general who've been in toxic relationships where you're like, you don't really realize that there's no upside. That it's just you're falling out, you're fighting the whole time. Short term upsides. The rest of it's downside. But you're kind of like, fuck, like you don't realize that the negative effect it has on you. Like you're like, Jesus Christ, I have to go see this one now. Like instead of going, oh, I can't wait to see her later. I can't wait. Like you're counting down the days to see your girlfriend again, and then sometimes towards the end of a relationship or whatever, you're going, fuck, I'm busy. Busy tonight.
I feel like a lot of that has to do with your own energy as well.
But that's what I mean. But then if you be selfish, a wee bit selfish, and you deal with your own energy, everything else, you have to worry about. You can't be number one for someone else if you're not number one for yourself.
I do believe that. Yeah, I've seen that on a listen. I was listening to something the other week and it was saying, Joe, a therapist had a man, a woman, and a child in. Yeah. And they had the mum and the dad score the priorities of the three together. Yeah. And the dad goes, it's the children, you, me. And the mum goes, it's me, children, you. And the dad goes, I can take being last. Yeah. But what I can't take is the fact that you're over the children. And she turned around and said, and very, very clear on this, and it's in a I forget what it was. She turned around and goes, I cannot give the best version of myself to anybody. And then the person goes on to say, there's a reason that whenever the mask drop,
you put yourself first.
You put yourself first because you are fucking useless. And I've been a really good example of that, because if you're not looking after your headspace, your body, your energy, you might think you're being but you're not you're not bringing the best version of you to people. And what's beautiful for me to see is how the podcast has, if you listen to an episode, I reckon from this time last year to now, you'll see the difference, even in the way I speak. Far more conviction.
You don't have to go back that far. You can go back to July, maybe. July or August.
Yeah, I would say it would probably around August. And the funniest thing is, it took a lot of pain, it took a lot of change to get there. But the beauty is, then you improve from that and you move forward. But I find that very interesting that it was because I wasn't actually filling up I thought I was, but I was actually filling it with superficial things like more money, more business, more fun. Versus when you stop, take a breath, and you go and you fill yourself up and you go, right, how do I feel? What needs work done? You start working on internally. You realize that
what do you mean by filled up? You're talking about filling your own cup.
Yeah, filling your own cup. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? You're actually not just caught in the momentum of life day to day. It's one of the reasons why I wake up every morning. I do journal, or I go for a walk now, or I look. I just be like, and it's one of the things I heard it in like a reel, and it's so small, but I've got the sound saved, and it's like 3 things for your mental health, and it's do something for your body, something for your mind, and something for your soul. And people be like, oh, soul. I'm like, a soul can be literally listening to a podcast and mellowing out.
Could be laughing.
Or it could be taking a dip. You need to do something every day. See, if you're doing something for the body, a walk, exercise, good. Something for the mind, like journaling, reading a book, learning, even listening to something. And then the soul, whatever makes you feel a little bit alive. Even if you can't do it every day, you do a little bit. Yeah. For me, that's been that fills me up. And then I can, like, even the way I've been able to help people now, Joe. Yeah. I feel like I always felt like I had unlimited energy. Yeah. But I actually had a false facade. I had like this like energy that wasn't really good energy. It was just like, Joe, you're running on 50%, even though you think that's full power. And now I feel like I've got fucking supercharged. It's very strange.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of the Joe Rogan, Kevin Hart thing is like, be the superhero of your own comic book. Every day is a blank page. When you wake up in the morning, every day is a blank page. No matter what, you're in charge of the outcome of that day to a certain, like probably to 99%.
Yeah.
So you can either choose to go through that day of doing nothing that's going to make the day better. You go through that day with a negative mindset that everything's going to be shit. Or you can go through that day going, I'm the fucking dog's balls and I'm going to literally bust through everything in front of me this day. And it might kill you to do it that day. And then the next day you go to bed that night, next day you get up and you just do it again. And then before you know it, you've put together a week or two of doing it. And then of course then it's a habit. And then you're doing it every day. But it starts with the first day. You can get up with a negative mindset going, fuck, it's Monday. I hate Mondays. Like the Sunday night fear. What the fuck is that bullshit like?
Oh, muck.
Like people, I know a person who always talk about the Sunday night fear, and I like slag people about it now.
But you shouldn't have that if you actually don't like. If you actually think your job's even okay, you shouldn't have that.
You shouldn't have that.
Why are you not looking forward to another day you're going to get to live?
Aye.
People are dying that day. Do you know what I mean? I just think that perception
for someone
is
to
so
give
off.
you, someone's going to go to you. I know you hate this job. I know you've got fear and anxiety every Sunday night, but I'm going to give you a wage, and even though it's a good wage, it's never going to be a fair wage because a business cannot give you a fair wage. A business is only a business because it's paying you less than it makes or less than they should. Because if they pay every person how much they should be getting paid, the business is not a real business. It's not profitable. And you have to think about it that way. You're only worth something to the company if you're working for like cheaper.
And the way that society works too now is like you go to, now don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with this if this is what you enjoy, but you have to be very conscious about it because it is the rat race. You come out of uni and they give you enough money that they go, right, what is all your dreams and aspirations now? And then they go, how much money, and I listened to this on Jimmy Carr, he said this, and he goes, how much money is enough that you will compromise everything for that safety?
Yeah.
And usually most people come out with a graduate job in Northern Ireland or the UK, somewhere around 25K is probably about bang on. And people give up everything for that for 9 to 5. They'll give up their souls, they give up their purpose, they give up any dreams they had about moving, travel, because it's there. And people go, oh, it's a safe job, it's this, it's that. And the problem is, see with a safety net, it's not a safety net.
Yeah.
It's like a rat trap.
It's not a safety net, it's a cage. It's a cage.
Yeah. And the thing is, you're getting very confused with what's a safety net, what's a cage. And the problem with that is, then you all of a sudden get caught into where you take out stuff that's a little bit too much. You take out a little bit of a house that's too much for you.
Yeah.
You take out a car and finance, and then all of a sudden you don't even own your money.
No.
Your money owns you because you need it that bad to keep up your what do you call that? Your what's the word? That was a really good one.
Keeping up appearances.
Keeping up your appearances, Joe. Your
status.
You're using that to keep up people's perception of you and who you are. Joe, you drive the nice white Audi. You drive this. You live here. It's all these small things that you're afraid to lose because then all of a sudden, Joe, what other people think of you? Whenever you realize how little other people think of you, it's actually mental because everybody's too self-absorbed. And I feel like they're the chains that people almost put in themselves that other people don't even put on. And that's where I almost got lost in that. I'm sure you did.
I got lost in it before.
And you do get lost in it, but then it's like if you enjoy that and that's the life you want and you're happy, you fucking stay there. Don't let anybody say otherwise. But a lot of people are there with that safety net, not realizing it's a cage. And I know that from personal experience. I talk to people all the time. And see when you say it, they go, holy fuck.
Oh, people don't realize that.
And they're not enough pain to change.
No, they're not. But then again, people love the comfort. They love, like, if they, like, with my industry, it can end. With DJing, so as soon as the business dictates you're not cool anymore, you're not good anymore, it ends. It's over, right?
Same as mine.
Same as yours. Let's say if people go, you know what? See this fit shit? Nah, fat's cool. Let's everybody get fat as fuck, right? Fat is cool. Let's get fat. You know, Tony's out in a job and he's back stripping again.
I'd be fat as fuck.
Tony's going to hit the pole in a pair of budgie smugglers. He's got the budgie smugglers and the headband already. But like, honestly, like, my business can disappear in the morning, but that would scare someone who's a teacher. Like, I had a girl who was a teacher at a house party one night and literally goes, "Oh, you're still DJing?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "How's that going for you?" And I was like, "I make 5 times a year as you make. How's that going? How's that going for you?" Because I'll tell you the reason, right? She used to run me down every single time I met her. Like, well, no, actually, that's the last time I met the girl. every time I've met this girl in the last 10 years, she always like would have a snide comment, like a real snide. She'd literally just about called me a drug dealer once.
Do you think, looking back on that though, you should have took the higher ground?
No, fuck her.
See,
I'd never take the higher ground. Someone that needs to be put in their box, because the simple reason is she literally, I would say Christmas, maybe 2 Christmas ago, Christmas pre-COVID, pretty much called me a drug dealer in a spar shop, because she goes, there's no way you can afford that car.
Should be correct.
And I was like, why is that? And she goes, like, do you not like get paid £50 a night? And she goes, you know, why would you just not go back to uni? And that's what she says to me in a spar shop on Christmas Eve. And I was kind of like, but I had to be as unhappy as you are. And then I would say every time, because she's kind of friends of friends, so friends group, it's always around Christmas running the girl, and she's always like real derogatory point, because she thinks teaching is like the holy grail of like, she would look down.
For some people it is.
She would look down her nose at doctors. No, she thinks it's like it's everything and everything. But she just doesn't see anything from anybody else's perspective.
What's frustrated you there too is I view everybody in equal ground, and I reckon what really frustrates you is the fact that she puts herself on the higher ground.
Oh, well, she does forever. Like, it's not just me. Like, she would run down like boys that work in, like, one of the guys one of the guys there. She was like, he works in tech, but it's like app development, and she goes to him, "What are you going to do when the bubble bursts?" And he goes, "What, the fucking internet?"
I just believe people like that though will get it in the long grass.
No, well, it's
or they're in their warped own reality, and they just let them be.
I find it a lot with teachers, because they come straight out of uni and always kind of get a job. They always kind of, maybe it's not full time at the start, but they'll get something like.
Yeah, but then see, it just depends though. Like, for example, like, I know there's teachers I know that are like that, but then there's a lot. It's like every job though. There's like online coaches that are bell ends, and then there's ones that are sound.
No, I'm not saying all teachers got, but a lot of teachers get in, because it's like one of those things where if you come straight out of uni and you're not guaranteed
it's a safer option. That's what that was. Whenever my degree finished, the first thing I thought of is I need a job. What was the first thing I thought? I was, I'll do a PGCE. That'll be handy. Not handy. I just meant I actually have a chance of getting a job.
And if you can't get a job here, you just go to Dubai, and you'll definitely get a job. Or, well, Australia's a bit harder now. You go to Australia and get a job. But if you don't go through that struggle that like a lot of people come out like law degrees, there's so much like you always have to go on and do something else as well to make yourself better. But
do you not think though? Sorry, I don't mean to. Do you not think though as well? She said this is like listening back to what you were saying. You still DJing. Do you not feel like it's also one of them things, even if you weren't DJing, I don't believe you have to do the same role for life. Like,
no, you don't have to do the same role.
And your passion could change. Like,
your passion could change, but it was the fact that like people would look at, if you don't have a doctorate or a degree or a master's, you couldn't be on the same footing as someone who does.
Did you go to uni? Yeah.
No, I went to uni for 3 weeks.
See, if I could go back, I wouldn't go to uni. And people go, but it taught you this and that. No. See, my education from university, I'm not joking, was complete shite.
Oh, it is. But even the way like you're taught, the person who can remember the most stuff wins. That's not the fucking way to teach people anything.
Same with school, and it's one of them things where like you get taught things, and don't get me wrong, like yes, you need to know how to use a map, right?
Yeah.
And you need to understand how the weather works.
Yeah.
You do not need 5 years of fucking geography, son.
No.
Like the same with a lot of this, like, and it's me being straight now. Yes, you should be able to write.
I don't need to know the different clouds.
There's a very fine line here as well. Do you know, like it's one of them things where I remember reading about like how like clouds are formed. Interesting, great.
Aye.
When the fuck do I need to know how clouds are made?
The Nimbus cloud or whatever it's called.
I don't know what the fuck, but it's one of the things where for me, stuff like that is like, do you know what I could have used like more than
pi?
That?
Do you use pi much?
No, I look at pi. I'm fucking starving.
Do you know about photosynthesis? You know what the fuck? Like what?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, unless there's maybe one.
Now, if you're a chemistry teacher, that's great. You're that's good to fucking know. And if you want to go down that route of chemistry and drugs, that's good. But then I suppose the whole idea of school and with them subjects is to see what you like.
Yeah, but in P3, if you could put your hand up, go, Miss, sorry.
I know, but photosynthesis you don't know what you
bullshit.
Want. You don't know what you want though at that age, Joe.
And then you just go here. I'm gonna double down and be a footballer. Why not? You know, why not?
But then if it goes tits up, do you not think people would then blame the educational system for letting you pursue football instead of teaching you how to read and write?
I will read and write. I will can help down the line. But say, for instance, like you see now these
they do divide it off though at 16.
Coding nurseries. you ever hear of these?
No.
So they're for people on the age 6 and 8. They go and learn coding at a young age, right? There's ones in Belfast. They're fucking rammed out the doors, right?
Yeah.
So they bring their kids to it and make it a fun environment for kids to learn coding, right? See, by the time they become 12, they're going to be so many streaks ahead of people that are now going into uni.
Were you taught sex education in school?
No, never.
Yeah, like I didn't get that either.
Never.
I remember us talking about school before, and then a teacher actually wrote to us and was like, we do that, we do whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, they've brought it. It's a lot better now.
The thing is, we're not saying that, and I really want to highlight this, that the education is wrong. It's not.
It's not wrong. It's just.
And I'm sure, do you know what? I would say actually more than anybody, teachers actually know that. Like they know there's things there like, this would be really handy.
Oh,
I would have loved to know. Like I was such a money oriented person. See if there was a topic on. I know there's like certain things with math, but like there's actually a topic on like wealth building or like.
But see, they can't do. But then again, the other thing is too, and this I think this was
sex education not taught you then. No,
this was no
wasn't taught to me. Like I didn't have a fucking.
But then
clue.
there's another thing too. So the boy that's teaching you business in uni, what the fuck's he done in business?
Yeah, I know.
So, like, instead of that's why a lot of people now, if you look at like pick some of your favorite businessmen, right, in Ireland, and this I've done this already, right. A lot of them's coming out of the Smurfit Business School now in the south here, right, and they're doing like evenings and stuff on it. They're doing that because most of the time their lecturers are boys who have done major shit. Instead of going to, no offense to Queens, I don't know who the head lecturer is or who it is, but there's probably a good chance that he's not an active businessman. So, in theory, he can teach you, in theory, but I want a guy who's failed. I want a guy who's rebuilt. I want a guy who's built something to tell me. Just like if I want a guy who's walked the line, who knows the pitfalls, rather than someone who rips out a textbook. Like I know from DJing all through Belfast from 2015, there's so many guys now I know who are teachers, right? And they're like religious teachers and RE teachers, geography teachers, and they'll fit to tell you, they'll go, oh lad, I'm winging it, like
everybody is.
Like I'm winging it. And then they'll be like, oh, but I'm only primary school, it doesn't matter. You know, it's like, you're like, and then you say to them, like, you want to do so much cool stuff, but you're stuck with a curriculum. You're stuck, like, kind of going, this is what you're going to do. Yeah. But they love that job, and the teachers do. They do
very,
like, it's a hard job
it's a
because
very difficult job to remodel though. Like
well,
for example, you can't remodel
you,
education system.
You have to be so careful. Like.
Yeah, so careful because you end up like, don't get me wrong, the generations we're in are absolutely fucked anyway. But in terms of like you make a small change, like you take out geography or you take out this, and then all of a sudden, what do you put in there? What's going to help? And then you don't know how that's going to influence people 20 years down. I find this a very interesting thought. And the reason I asked about the sex education relates back to even the thing, like. You have no idea.
Not a clue.
And I think that is one of the reasons why like people don't realize like how easy it is. Like not how easy it is, but like Joe, you end up with people very pregnant, very young when they don't want to be.
We had sex education for 10 minutes with an art teacher. And he wasn't meant to give us sex education and he got reprimanded for it.
Cucumber and a condom?
No, he goes, lads.
Put this on your mouth, Mickey.
He goes, lads, anybody have sex in this class yet? We were probably third year. A couple of boys threw their hand up, but clearly didn't. And then he goes, right, lads, going to keep this short, going to keep this sweet. You come before you come. That's it. That's all he said.
That was all you got.
That's what he goes. Well, he wasn't meant to do it. He was just a.
That's not even real education.
He was a maniac.
But it's better than that.
Well, he got about an hour later. We seen him being brought into the principal's office, and he got reprimanded. Now he was wired to the moon. He was full on stoned the whole time.
Yeah, he got reprimanded because it's a school where it's religious and all that there. But the thing is, it's one of them things.
Well, we're religious, but the headmaster was the person who, when I said in careers class that I wanted to be a DJ, headmaster goes to me, or the careers teacher put me out of class because I wasn't taking it serious. The headmaster brought me into his office and said his son was a touring techno DJ, touring worldwide, and goes, if you want to be a DJ, you be a DJ. I'll give you Simon's number. And you can talk to him about it. And then a week later, he came into school. We were 5th year, and he gave us 4 tickets to Snow Patrol.
Quality.
And he was like, "Sure, why don't you get your first?" Because I hadn't really been to like a decent concert that stage. He goes, "Why don't you get your first taste of a good concert in the music industry?"
That's a good one too.
He was
the first gig you went to.
No, it wasn't the first gig, but it was first kind of like proper gig kind of on my own. I would have went to like Boyzone and Westlife and all shit. Boyzone like loads of times, and I went to the opening of the SSE, like the first big concert. It was like Stereophonics or some shit. Went to that, but Snow Patrol were playing at City Hall, and he had like 4 tickets, and he was just like, "Here, take them, and sure, go up." No, that's a kind of, he was good. Like, he was he was one of them. If there was a TV show made, the cool headmaster, there was kind of like, "Here, don't worry about them."
Yeah,
like,
don't sweat it.
I know that I've seen what my son could do. When my son told me he wasn't going to uni,
Yeah.
I was a bit like, "Hold on, your sister's a lawyer. You know, we're all pretty good jobs. What are you going to do?" He goes, "I'm going to be a techno DJ and tour the world." No, people would have went, "Oof," right? But he did it, and he's doing it. Well, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he did it.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap?
No, all good. Rate and review.
I think that was good, yeah.
Rate and review. Well, I'm not even going to check it.
Rate, review, subscribe.
Just look at the camera. Talking to the camera.
Rate, review, subscribe. Make sure to share it in your story. Fucking everybody say that. God damn.
Share it in your story. Rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
Thank you very much.
This video will be up on Spotify and Tony's YouTube with other videos.
Boom.
Good luck.